we're never to get into analyzing the motives of others. It's a great teaching in the Course, you know, never analyze the motives of others, because you're always doing it with the ego. The Holy Spirit is never analyzing the motives of others. Why? Because the Holy Spirit knows there are no others. You know, that they're just figments. They're partial memories that we were talking about. Why would the Holy Spirit be analyzing the motives of partial memories? I mean, that really is getting insane when you start to think of it that way. So the Holy Spirit is just seeing, feeling, knowing the wholeness, and is saying, come and join me up here, high above the battleground, in this whole healed perspective. And what better way than to have a pathway like A Course in Miracles that actually uses relationships, like Bill was talking about. 9 chapters, from 15 to 24, out of that Course text, are focused on special relationships and transforming them to holy relationships. 9 out of all those chapters. There is no topic that gets more words than relationships. And that is very different from most traditional spiritual paths. You know, talk about mantras and lotus positions and breathing and postures and on and on and on. And this is talking about relationships for 9 chapters. So what Jesus is saying is, let's use it. The ego made it, there's no doubt. But let's use it to the max. Let's really use it to the max to free ourselves from the ego. We're going to turn the tables on the ego. The very thing that the ego made up as its most boasted gift, its secret weapon. When you just get close to salvation, it pulls out the ace card and says, oh yeah, try one of these special relationships. In fact, Jesus calls it the special love relationship. Oh, that's the ace card. Because the ego has to come up with a substitute to divine love that will be so attractive that you won't question it. You'll just fall for it. And fall into it like quicksand.
And see it on TV and want it.
And see it on TV and want it. Lust after it. And then, say, what's happened? Why is this such, like Bill was talking at lunch, crazy, wild, bizarre. How did these crazy, wild, bizarre behaviors get into such love? You know, it must be that there was something sneaky, clever, insidious that was underneath, that was unexposed. And this mechanism used by the Holy Spirit is a way to expose this insidious little puff of nothingness. It's like a little spider trying to hide down in the well. You shine the flashlight down there and the spider moves away from the light into the darkness. You move the flashlight, it moves away into the darkness. It needs darkness to hide. Then you finally become determined to see past it, so you get your big spotlight and you clink, you turn it on. Uh-oh.
Gig is up.
No, the gig is up. There's nowhere to run and there's nowhere to hide if you really are that willing to call upon the light and practice it with all your relationships. So that's why it's a beautiful topic. You know, I think to the world, relationships just seem so mysterious. It's kind of like this thing where, let's bring it down to practical terms. In this world, we have this strange thing called relationship status. Single or married. Are you single or are you with somebody? Okay, it's a status, like the box that you check. But it's so accepted and accustomed as a norm that it's like, that's something that people ask at parties. You know, they get around to, what's your sign? Are you married? Are you single? So on and so forth. Well, this woman, Cher Height, one time, she interviewed all these single people, and she asked them a couple questions. What's the worst thing about being single, and what's the best thing about being single? And the single people said, the worst thing about being single is the loneliness. And the best thing about being single is the freedom. So then she went around and she interviewed all the married people. And she said, what's the worst thing about being married and the best thing? And the married people said, well, the best thing about being married is the intimacy. And the worst thing about being married is the loss of freedom. As if somehow relationship status had anything to do with intimacy or freedom, or you know, any of these kind of things. You know, it's like that. That's the ego's trick. It makes up a construct, the individual, and then it puts two boxes there, couple and individual, and the grass is always greener on the other side, you know. Well, I kind of like being single, but now I'm tired of being single now. I've got to find a partner. I've got to have a partner. Then when you have a partner, oh, for those days, those bachelorette days. You know, it's always looking for, the ego doesn't know what it wants, but it sets up the construct so that you forever kind of chase your tail going round and round, not realizing that the couple is really like a small version of the collective. It's as if, you know, let's say you start off and you believe you're single, and it's as if you want to trade your singledom away for a couple model. It's like going into a car dealer and wanting to trade up, you know. You've got the jalopy, and now you've got your stimulus money to pay cash for clunkers. And, yep, I got this clunker model here, but I got some incentive to come in and trade it in. You got any couple models there? I think this clunker would be a lot better if I could upgrade and couple it. And then, so you try that, and then you couple it, and then it's like, oh, gosh, give me my space, please. I need some more space. I can't stand it, and so on and so forth. And so then it's like, maybe we need to separate. We need to have more space. And if it gets too intense, we maybe need to divorce, you know. Then you're single again. Oh, maybe I should upgrade again. You know, there's a lot of fish in the sea. And it doesn't really cost that much to upgrade, you know. And, you know, you can see there's a game going on here. And the game is that the ego has covered over the oneness, projected out a construct, and is using the construct and twisting it in different ways, saying, come over here, try this one, no, come over here. And it keeps shifting the goal, telling you that you can actually have a better you.
Seek but do not find.
Seek and do not find. It's an elaborate scheme, but now, here we are right now, unveiling the mystery of relationship and saying, oh no, it's not so mysterious at all. And I always use that example. I always like that family therapist John Bradshaw. Some of you remember John Bradshaw? He said, yeah, we tend to grow up thinking that relationships are an addition kind of thing. 1 + 1 equals 2, though. It's like, you know, I'll have 1/2 + 1/2 = 1. You know, if I can find my other half, my missing half, then I will complete myself. It's like an addition thing. He says, but actually it's a multiplication. 1/2 times 1/2 is 1/4. You feel worse when you buy into the system and you go for it. And then he changed it and he said, no, 1 times 1 equals 1. Come from your wholeness. Come from your completeness, your joy. It's cool stuff, you know, when you start to see that it's all coming from within yourself. And if you feel your purpose, your joy, your contentment, then you will just attract experiences, people that reflect your own sense of wholeness, in a mind sense, so that you're not dependent on the bodies anymore. It's totally God-dependent. It's dependent on your heart.
Be fruitful and multiply.
Yeah, in the best way.